Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Vegan Chris, and today we're reacting to Oatly's Super Bowl commercial. Now, Oatly is a Swedish-based oat milk company, and they reportedly spent over $6 million on this Super Bowl ad slot. And it's a pretty weird commercial. It got a lot of people talking. So without further ado, let's go ahead and check it out. All right, so the first thing we need to do before we watch the video is we need to go ahead and destroy the like button. There we go. All right, and now that we have that taken care of, let's go ahead and watch.
It's like milk made for humans.
So just to start out, I love how this advertisement is the CEO of Oatly. I just think that's really cool.
It's like milk but made for humans. Wow, wow, no cow. No, 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 wow, wow.
The song is so catchy. Also, we could see that his shirt says no artificial badness. I love that. This is such a great ad.
Wow, no cow. No, 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 wow, wow.
He's really putting his heart and soul into this song. He's really getting into it, you could tell. All right, so we just watched the Oatly Super Bowl commercial, and I will say it's such a plain and basic ad for $6 million. The ad did its job. It was so weird and peculiar and different than every other Super Bowl ad that people are used to that it got people talking, which is the whole idea of marketing. So before we jump into the pros and cons of Oatly, let's go ahead and look at some more of their marketing, because it's just really is that good. So this giant billboard says, "We made this ad look like street art so you would like it better than if it was just an ad." You actually read this? Total success. We made this mural instead of an Instagram post. I mean, this is marketing genius right here. This marketing is off the charts. I love how real it is. I love how funny it is. Oatly brand oat milk is so good. It's creamy, it's naturally sweet, and it goes well with almost any dish, whether it is a sweet dish or even savory. But now let's talk about the controversy of Oatly. And you might have heard of it last year in 2020. A lot of people on social media called for Oatly to be canceled because what happened is Oatly needed $400 million to build new factories and really grow their business. And because of that financial need, they accepted $200 million from Blackstone, which is a private equity fund. And now this was controversial because Blackstone has been accused of causing deforestation in the rainforest, and also the head of Blackstone donated a large amount to the Trump campaign, which was controversial since former President Donald Trump wasn't very pro on environmental policy and sustainability. But Oatly actually responded to this criticism about them accepting the $200 million from Blackstone, and they made a video about it, and they actually wrote a long open letter to the public. So let's go ahead and watch the short video they made. Wow. Now, I really like that video because Oatly emphasizes that we all have the same goal. We want to have a more sustainable future. And that's why Oatly says they accepted this funding from Blackstone, because it's going to allow them to expand their mission for a more sustainable future. Now, I want to read a little bit from their open letter. It's a long open letter, so we're not going to go through all of it, but I want to read to you a few parts that really stuck with me. Oatly was founded on the idea of change. Our entire reason for existence has been to bring change and transparency to existing food systems that are currently responsible for 25% of global greenhouse gas emissions, half of which comes from meat and dairy. Oatly is very transparent that they had a need for funding. They specifically needed $400 million in US dollars in order to continue to grow as sustainably as possible and meet the demand for their products. They want to trigger a shift to a more sustainable world. This investment would allow them to build factories in Europe, the US, and Asia, and the reason they accepted funding from Blackstone is because Blackstone is like the biggest supermarket of the private equity sector. And we thought that if we could convince them that it's as profitable and in the long term even more profitable to invest in a sustainability company like Oatly, then all the other private equity firms of the world would look, listen, and start to steer their collective worth of over $4 trillion US dollars into green investments. If we ever want to have a chance of reaching the global climate goals of cutting the greenhouse gas emissions by 50% before 2030 and reach net zero emissions by 2050, we need to speak a language that the capital markets can understand. Getting a company like Blackstone to invest in us is something we've been working on to create maximum change to benefit the planet. From a sustainability perspective, we're convinced that helping shift the focus of massive capital towards sustainable approaches is potentially the single most important thing we could do for the planet in the long term. Oatly is basically saying that they can't shut out companies that make less sustainable choices than they do. And I kind of agree with them. You know, we have to be realistic in our world that a lot of companies, most companies, aren't very sustainable. Oatly's perspective that they're trying to turn more venture capital money green and have it invested into sustainable companies like oat milk really is something I can get behind because it's realistic. And now something to note is that Blackstone actually totally disregards the claim that they take part in business that causes deforestation. Blackstone actually says that these claims are blatantly wrong and irresponsible. Blackstone does not control or have any interest, direct or indirect, to the deforestation in question. And basically the claim was that one of the companies that Blackstone invested in was building a very large road system to make it easier to transport goods and produce. But Blackstone says that this road has been operated by the Brazilian government since 1976 and that the company did not build the highway nor are they paving it, and they noted that the Blackstone private equity firm actually has a mission towards sustainability and environmental protection with the companies that they invest in. So everyone that's calling to cancel Oatly, I personally feel like it's a little bit undeserved. Now, of course, I recommend that you do your own research and you look into these topics further if you're interested. But for me, I still really love Oatly. I love their products, and I just had the opportunity to try their ice cream line, and wow, it is top notch. So really quick, I wanted to rank my favorite oat milk brands based on how good they taste and based on their health factors. So number one on my list actually isn't Oatly, it's Chobani. And Chobani manufactures a really delicious oat milk that is a reasonable price, and it's made with organic oats, which is really important, and I'll get into that in a second. My second favorite oat milk is Oatly. It's just so good. I know it's a little bit pricey, but if you do decide to splurge, I promise you it's worth it. Number three, I really like the Elmhurst brand of oat milk because it's really clean and natural. And number four, I like Planet Oat. Now, Planet Oat oat milk is not made with organic oats, but it's a little bit cheaper and it tastes really good, so it's perfect for that budget. So when you're at the grocery store, how do you pick which oat milk is actually the best? Well, let's go ahead and read this article by a registered dietitian to see what she looks for when shopping for oat milk. And the biggest thing is that you want to try to find oat milk that's made with organic oats. And the reason for this is because conventionally grown oats are sprayed with glyphosate. And glyphosate is a chemical that's commonly found in weed killer, and the World Health Organization labels it as a probable carcinogen. But it's actually sprayed onto conventionally grown oats as a drying agent before harvesting. So science has found that unless you're buying organic oats or products made with organically grown oats, then you're going to be getting a lot of glyphosate in your diet, which could be actually really harmful. So that's why it's important to look for oat milks that are made with organic oats. And even if the oat milk brand itself is not organic, it may still be made with organic oats, similar to like Chobani. The registered dietitian also mentions that it's probably best to skip the barista versions of oat milk because a lot of times they come with different types of seed oils like grapeseed oil and safflower oil, which can actually have an inflammatory response since they're so high in omega-6s. And as you know, we want to have a good balance of omega-3 and omega-6 in our diet. But as long as you're taking your omega-3s or you're including flax seeds in your diet, then you're usually all good. So those are my thoughts on Oatly, the Super Bowl commercial, which costed $6 million just to have a guy standing in a field playing the piano. It was pretty genius in my opinion. So with that said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to demolish that like button, demolish the subscribe button, and make sure to follow me on Instagram so you can keep up with me almost every single day. All right, let's watch it again. That was so short. Let's watch it again.
It's like milk, made for humans. It's like milk, but made for humans. Wow, wow, no cow. No, no, no.
Wow! Wow! No cow! No, no, no! Wow! Wow! No cow!